So today in this video, I will be talking about homonyms, homographs, and homophones. Firstly, the reason why these words are so difficult for ESL learners to actually understand and use is because a lot of them, they either share the same pronunciation or the same spelling, but they have very, very different meanings. So when we are learning English, maybe you learn one definition for a word. However, there are actually many different definitions for this one word. And because they share the spelling and share the same pronunciation, it is very, very difficult for ESL learners to differentiate between what meaning is, for what word. First, we have our homonyms. Now, these are words that share the same spelling and the same pronunciation, but they have very different meanings. So, for example, words like bat and bat. So, one bat means the thing we hold when we hit the ball in baseball, the baseball bat. And the other meaning of bat is the animal that flies in the nighttime, and many people are very scared of these. So again, we have completely different meanings, but they sound the same and look the same. So of course, these are very, very difficult for ESL learners to differentiate between and understand when we use each one. Other examples of common homonyms are bark, spring, watch, right, and well. All of these words have more than one meaning. The main reason why these are so tricky is that you, as an ESL learner, have to know both of these meanings for the same word. We have our homographs. Now, these are words that have different pronunciations, but they have the same spelling and, of course, different meanings again. So these ones are really tricky because the pronunciations are completely different, but they actually look the same. So for an example, lead and lead. They are both spelled L-E-A-D, but in one, the E has the long E sound, lead, to lead someone. And then the other one is a kind of metal material that we use to build things, lead. So that has the soft, short E, lead. So again, these are tricky to differentiate between. You really just need to know the context of the sentence in order to be able to know what the meaning is. Of these would be bow and bow, wind, wind. Lastly, we have our homophones. Now, these are words that share the same pronunciation and the same meaning, but they have different spellings. So, for example, a really common one are the three twos, two, two, and two. So, two, T-O, two, T-O-O, and two, T-W-O. So, these all sound the same, but they have different meanings and different spellings. We have many other examples of these too, like our three theirs, there as in they are, there as in a place we go, and there as in it is theirs, like the possession. It is their backpack. Lastly, examples of these would be pair and pair, sun and sun, night and night, loud, allowed, and break, break. Again, we have so many of these in English. The key to understanding these and being able to use them is to really practice and learn all of the different meanings that words have. And we really need to pay attention to the context of the sentence as well. So if you are reading an article about animals and food for animals, then you know that's the context And if you have a word that has more than one meaning, you know that the second meaning that is not relevant to animals and food is probably not the one that they're trying to use for that text. So that is how we know when to use which word depending on the meaning. It is very difficult to do this and takes a lot of practice. However, you can do it. I believe you have it. Those are the differences between our homonyms, homographs, and homophones. And remember, these are tricky. They are difficult to learn. However, they are very important to know, because if somebody is talking to you and they're talking about flower, for example, and they're talking about flowers being planted in their garden. However, you think they're talking about the kind of flour we use to bake cakes and muffins. So if you only know the one meaning of the word and don't understand it has multiple meanings, this can lead to confusion on both ends, right? The person you're talking to is confused and you are confused as well. So they are tricky, but please try and practice to know as many as you can. There are many of these to know as well, but just try to know at least the most common ones or a small list, so that will help you in your understanding of English in general. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.